to the very first video of the Quarter Life Crisis Project. My name is Ryan Riccardella, and I'm so glad that you are here. Today we're going to talk about a topic that I've been thinking a lot about lately, and is really going to set the tone for the rest of this journey. And it's the idea of being a good person to yourself. I want to spend just a couple minutes talking about what that means, and then at the end of the video share 3 practices that I've been trying to adopt to help me improve my self-esteem and get into a more productive mindset. Now I'm going to make the assumption that if you're watching this video, you're not an asshole. And if you are, don't be. But I think it's fairly safe to assume that most of us strive to treat each other with respect, to be forgiving of one another, and to accept each other's flaws and all. And that is fantastic. The irony is that there is a group of us, myself very much included, who apply that mindset to pretty much everyone else but ourselves, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you think about it. Why do we hold ourselves to a different standard than our friends or our families or our coworkers, who at the end of the day are people just like we are? Think about the last time you may have done this to yourself. You oversleep one day and you kick yourself in the butt and tell yourself you're lazy. Or you overindulge a little bit over the holidays and you tell yourself you're fat and beat yourself up for not having enough willpower. Or maybe you feel overwhelmed at work and you tell yourself that it's your fault because you're not managing your time well enough. What happens when someone else does that same exact thing? All of a sudden you're saying, it's okay, being overwhelmed is part of the job, you're doing great. Or, don't worry, you're allowed to indulge a little bit over the holidays. What's the difference in those situations? Really, there isn't one. So why is the narrative so different? That's what I want to take some time to explore. And you know what's super ironic? If you're anything like me, you beat yourself up for beating yourself up. Sometimes I hit myself saying, like, Ryan, why are you being such an asshole? Or, why are you talking to yourself in such a counterproductive way? You know that that's not healthy. You must not be committed to achieving your goals. And it's this gross, vicious cycle. That cycle has to break. And I think we can break it by practicing what I'm calling the reverse golden rule. The golden rule says to treat others the way you want to be treated. The reverse golden rule says to treat yourself the way you treat others. Think about it. Would you ever be as nasty to someone else as you are to yourself? My hope is that the answer is a clear no. And why? Well, because it's unacceptable to talk to people that way. It doesn't accomplish anything, it doesn't make you feel any better, it just makes the other person feel worse. And just as it's unacceptable to talk to other people that way, it's unacceptable to talk to yourself that way too. So how do I put the reverse golden rule into practice? Well, I'm not a therapist by any stretch of the imagination, but as I try to get into a more productive mindset myself, here are 3 things that have been working for me. The first thing is to recognize the things that we can control versus the things that we can't. There are some things in the world that no matter how hard we try, we have no control over, like the way we look or the people that we love. If anyone's trying to make you feel bad about those things, those are people that you don't need around. We all have very finite amounts of time and energy. And when we think about living life with intention, how we spend that time is very important. Any time we spend focusing on the things that we can't control is time not spent on the things that we can. Free yourself of responsibility of the things you have no control over. It's amazing the weight they will lift off your shoulders. The second thing is to not confuse a mistake for an innate character flaw. You are going to sleep past your alarm. You are going to forget a friend's birthday. These things do not make you lazy. It does not make you a bad friend. It just makes you human. All make mistakes. Now, to be fair, being self-critical is not a bad thing in and of itself. It's important for self-growth. We can't go through life thinking that nothing is ever our fault and that we're perfect, but just as there's a right and wrong way to give feedback to other people, there's a right and wrong way to give feedback to yourself. The next time you do something where you're not happy with yourself, say sleep past your alarm, recognize that you made a mistake, apologize if you need to, think about what you could have done in that specific instance to prevent that mistake from happening again, and then recognize that you are capable of preventing that mistake from happening again. You're not doomed to repeat it. There's actually some really cool research out there by a psychologist whose name is Carol Dweck, and I will put some of her research in the description below and also put a video with her research here. Carol Dweck does some really cool research on mindsets. She has 2 mindsets. One's called a growth mindset and one is called a fixed mindset. People with fixed mindsets are the people that feel like their traits are hardwired into them, like it's part of their DNA. They're the ones who say, I'm shy and that's just the way I am, or I'm a bad dancer and I didn't get a dancing gene. People who have growth mindsets, on the other hand, are people who feel like they are empowered to change things about themselves. They're the people who say, I'm kind of introverted right now, but I bet you if I put my mind to it, I can get better at talking to people. Or, I'm not a great dancer, but if I really, practice, I could definitely get better at dancing. When we look at outcomes related to happiness and success, the people with growth mindsets far outpace people with fixed mindsets because they feel empowered to change things that are important to them. So as you go about your day, try to adopt that growth mindset. Recognize that there are things about yourself that you can change, and areas where you want to improve, you can. You're a lot more empowered than you think you are. The third piece is the simplest but probably the most difficult, and that's just to recognize when we're being mean to ourselves. I bet when you're being mean to yourself, if you're anything like me, you're in a spiral. This is wrong with me, and this is wrong with me, and everything is going terrible, and this, that, and the other thing, and we're so out of control, and we're spinning that we don't even realize that we're having these counterproductive thoughts. Anytime that you can say to yourself, well, hang on a second, I'm being really unfair to myself right now, and I need to just take a breath, you are doing yourself a huge service, because you're breaking yourself out of that irrational pattern of thinking and bringing yourself back down to earth. So you're more prepared to think about, what can I be doing right now? What am I empowered to be doing right now? And what can I control about this situation? What can I control and what can I not? There's some more research out there by a woman whose name is Mel Robbins, and I will link one of her talks up here. It's really good. She has a book called The 5-Second Rule, and it's essentially about just what I was talking about. How do we break ourselves out of these irrational patterns of thinking when we don't even know we're thinking in that way? So, there you have it. Give the reverse golden rule a try. See what Carol Dweck and Mel Robbins have to say. And if you need a little bit of extra encouragement, listen to me. I don't even know you, and I like you already. Because I know for a fact that you're capable of doing the thing that is scaring you right now, and that you are capable of improving yourself as you go along this journey. So let's get after it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And share with your friends, families, neighbors, coworkers, anyone who you think would benefit from coming along this journey with us. The more the merrier, and all are welcome. Until next time.